Okay, so first we just have a simple white card. Just looking at the measurements there now, it's about 13 centimeters. So I want to create like a blue mat. So taking the blue mat and getting the 13 by 13. This is just quite dark blue cardstock. So it's just a little bit short of each of the four corners, which is exactly what I want. So spot of glue on the back. And aligning it up nicely. So as I have maybe 3 or so millimeters on each of the four sides. Next I want to have a red floral mat on top of that, so I know that my blue mat is 13, so I'm going to make this about 12 and a half because I want to be leaving a few millimeters on either side. So I'll make that 12 centimeters square. One of the advantages of a square card, everything ends up square, at least for the start anyway. So when I'm sure that I'm happy with that, on the sides are square, I'm going to just ink up the edges. It gives it a bit of definition. So for this one I'm going to do it as tidy as I can, so it's really just taking the bends off the edge, running through the paper with the ink pad. Again, spot of glue and each of the corners. And making sure that the pattern is the right way up. If you're using a pattern where there's very obviously an up and a down, make sure that you put it the right way around. Now I want to put a rectangular bar on this, but first I want to stitch it. So I'm really just using a ballpoint pen and stitching around the edge. I'm sorry you can't see very clearly there, but all the way around the edge I have created like a black stitch with a pen. So here I'm just looking, I want about a 5 centimeter rectangular band. I'm going to just use a blue floral paper. So taking the 5 centimeters. Not worrying too much about the width of it at the moment because I'm going to trim that up later. I'm going to ink again the blue, so using a different colour ink. And this I'm doing a little bit rougher, so a little bit of the ink does go along the front. It just gives it a different effect. And I'm going to mat this now as well with silver Maryboard. Bit of glue on the back. Leaving maybe 3 or 4 millimeters on each side. Obviously I'm putting this onto a full sheet of Maryboard, so now I'm just going to trim it down when I'm happy enough that I have the edge that I want. And there I have it. I'm going to take a little piece off the end of this now, including a small sliver of the floral paper, just to make sure I have them both very much square. So this is going right up to the edge of the white card, so where the spine is, right up to the edge of the white, not to the blue. This I'm just using the double-sided glue mouse. Right up to the edge, like I said. And about a third of the way up the card. Keeping it as nice and square as I can. So obviously I'll have the little offcut, so the blade, sharp blade and the steel ruler, I'm going to just nip that off. Next thing I'm going to do is add a ribbon, so I picked out a nice pink ribbon there. Using a nice sharp blade again, about a third of the way up from the bottom of this, I'm going to just make a little score through the spine of the card. Using the blunt edge, I'm going to push that through just to give it a little bit extra room. And again, using the blunt edge of the blade, popping through the ribbon and catching it on the other side. It's really like stitching. So laying down the card flat and pulling the ribbon nice and straight across it. Double-sided tape. This is far too thick for the little ribbon, so I'm going to just trim it down a little bit and get using all the little pieces across the middle. So again, keeping it nice and straight across. And trying not to get your fingers too sticky. The last thing you want is something sticking onto your papers. That's not welcome. Peeling off the little backs there and disposing of the little bits and pieces. Get rid of all that stuff as you go along, clean as you go. So positioning this behind where I'm going to put my teacup topper and creating a little seam there. Just grabbing the scissors. And my last little small piece, just to create the little band under there, the seam, nice and tight there together. It doesn't matter that there's a little piece there because it's going to get covered with the teacup topper. Now, I have made this topper using a stencil from the DoCrafts range, and that's a whole other tutorial. But you can use any kind of topper that you want. A nice tall one like this generally works. And just peeling off the little covers from the 3D foam pads. These things are great to give your cards a bit of definition, a bit of dimension as well. So that's the front of it. And I'm just sticking that down so it creates a nice shadow. So the little sentiment, you can put anything here. Happy birthday, congratulations. I've just got the two special friend. So I'm going to mat this up again with a piece of mirrorboard, my glue mouse. Now much tighter this time, so I'm only about 1.5 millimeters really. Very small lip. And again the sides. Now using the 3D foam pads, just 2 of these should do the trick. Just positioning it in line with something, so I'm going to line it up against the blue matting. That should be it. I'm happy enough. Press it down. And that, my friends, is my square teacup card. Have fun.